Ladies and gentlemen, Shabbat Shalom. Good to see so many of you here, bright and early for our Shabbat evening service. We're going to begin with Kabbalat Shabbat, beginning on page 12 with Yedid Nefesh.
משוך עבדך אל רצונך ירוץ עבדך כמו הים ישתחווה לה 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 אל מול הדרך
As we turn to page 95, I forgot to mention that I'm being accompanied by Tova Aronbayev and Shazi King on the piano, and of course, Ovadia Aronbayev on the tambourine down next to the piano. Page 22, L'chuna Ranena.
L'chuna ranena l'Adonai, nariya letzori shenu, nekad mafana v'toda, bizmirot nariya lo. Ki el gadol Adonai, umelech gadol al kol Elohim, אשר בידו מקרה ארץ ותועפות הרים לו אשר לא היה והוא עשהו ויבשת ידיו יעצרו בואו נשתחווה ונכנעה נברכה לפני עושנו כי הוא אלוהינו ואנחנו אמר איתו בצאן ידו היום אם בקולו תשמעו אל תקשו לבבכם כמריבה כיום מסע במדבר אשר ניסוני אבותיכם וחנוני גם ראו פעלי 40 שנה עקוד גדול ואומרם תועב לבבהם והם לא ידעו דרכי לא ידעו דרכי עד שנשבעתי לאפי אם יבואו אל מנוחתי לכונה רננה לכונה רננה לכונה רננה לאדוני.
We turn to page 24, Psalm 96.
שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו בחרו מיום
השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, הילו מפניו כל הארץ. אמרו הגויים אדוני מלך, עתיקון תבל בעל תימות. תאמין במשרים, יזבחו השמיים ותגל הארץ, ירם הים ומלואו, יעלו שדי וכל אשר בו. אז ירננו כל עצי יער לפני אדוני, כי בא לשפוט הארץ, לשפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים באמונתו. לה 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 לה. You know the words. La 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 la. Continue now, Psalm 97, page 26, toward the bottom of the page. Or zarua la tzaddik, light is sown for the righteous. Or zarua la tzaddik, ul Yisrael el simcha. Or zarua la tzaddik, ul Yisrael el simcha. Ol zarua la tzaddik ul Yisrael el simcha, ol Yisrael el simcha. Ol zarua la tzaddik ul Yisrael el simcha, ol Yisrael el simcha. Ol zarua la tzaddik ul Yisrael el simcha, ol zarua la tzaddik ol Yisrael el simcha. We turn to page 28, Psalm 98, toward the middle of the page. Zamru l'Adonai bekinor, bekinor bekol zimra, b'chatzotot bekol shofar. הביאו לפני המלך אדוני, ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבה, נהרות ימחה וכף יחד, הרים ירננו, לפני אדוני כי בא לשפוט הארץ, ישפוט תבל בצדק, ועמים במשרים. ירם הים ומלואו, תבל ויושבה, נהרות ימחה וכף יחד, הרים ירננו. Again, toward the bottom of page 30, Romemu Adonai Eloheinu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishakavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishakavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu ramemu. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu ramemu. And we'll conclude Kabbalat Shabbat on page 34 with Psalm 29, Mizmor LeDavid. Mizmor LeDavid, Havu l'Adonai b'nei Elim, Havu l'Adonai kavod va'oz, Havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ישתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש, כל אדוני על המים, אל הכבוד הרים, אדוני על מים רבים, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר הלצים, וישבר אדוני את ארצי הלבנון, וירקידם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון, כמו בן רעמים, כמו בן רעמים. כל אדוני חוצב להבות אש, כל אדוני יחיל מדבר, יחיל אדוני מדבר קדש, כל אדוני יקלל איילות, ויכסוף יערות, ובהקלו כולו מרכבות, כולו אומר כבוד, כולו אומר כבוד. אדוני למבול ישב, וישב אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז עמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, את עמו
We pause at this time in the service between Kabbalat Shabbat and Ma'ariv to remember with reverence the yard sites of our beloved departed observed tonight, the second day of Tammuz. Morris Beitler, Isidore Buckman, N. Jerome Chapin, Nathan Derman, Dorothy Ellison, Jerome Chapin, Henry Fink, Walter Kleinman, Yetta Kreitzer, Mrs. Ina Land, Rose Magaziner, Bernard Myers, Robin Offit, Dorothy Ostrovsky, Herbert Schwartz, Irene Teeger, Morton Wasserman, Elaine Gertrude Weinstein, Benjamin Weissman, Marcia Whiteman. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may all of their memories forever be a blessing in our lives. And will those people who are in a period of mourning or observing a yard site tonight please rise to join me in reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, and you can find that on page 124. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
V'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayei uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'yimeru. Amen.
Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lamei maya.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrmam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemeda kudesha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru. Amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru. Amen.
Amen.
May your loved ones' memories be a blessing always. We turn now back in our Sidurim to Lecha Dodi, which you can find on page 38.
Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad, Yishmi'anu el hamiuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litilah, Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Likrat Shabbat lecho v'nelcha, ki yehi meko habraka, merosh mikerem nesucha, sof maseh b'machshava tehila. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Migdash melech yirmeluka, komitzim etokafecha, Rav lak shevet beyemek habaka, vehu yakamor alaychem la. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela.
We turn to page 40 and conclude with the final stanza.
Ovi v'shalom ateret bala, gam b'simcha u'b'tzohala, toch emuneh am segula, boi kala, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi, likrat kala, pene Shabbat nikabela.
We turn to page 41 as we extend our words of condolence to our mourners this week. We extend our condolences to the family of the late Bruce Eicher, our organist for many years. to the family of the late Norman Steinberg, and to the family of the late Melvin Weiner. Please join me in reciting our words of consolation to mourners on the bottom of page 41. Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avalei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May the Holy One who comforts Israel grant you solace in your bereavement. We remain standing and turn to page 50 for the Barchu. Seated, and tonight we have the privilege of being led in our responsive reading by Bruce and Lisa Sapavitz. Turning to page 51, the bottom of the page.
O Lord, your word brings on the evening twilight. The heavens proclaim your glory.
And we, your creatures on earth, behold in wonder your endless miracles.
Help us to recognize your guiding power in distant galaxies and in our own souls.
Teach us your law of righteousness and love, so that your Spirit may govern our lives.
Source of peace, bless our worship. May our meditations find favor in your sight.
May our gratitude for your wonders lead us in love to your service.
So that, like the changing seasons, the days, the nights, our lives too will proclaim your glory. Amen.
ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה, אדוני צבאות שמו, אל חי וקיים, תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, המעריב על אביב.
52.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך עלתה, תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך ונשמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו והולך ימינו ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך בכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים צווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We're seated and we continue quietly in prayer on page 56.
והיה
And we join together in the middle of page 57. Therefore, keep these words of mine in your heart and in your soul. Bind them as a sign upon your arm, and let them be a reminder above your eyes. Teach them to your children, speaking of them when you are at home and when you are away, when you lie down at night and when you rise up in the morning. Write them upon the doorposts of your homes and upon your gates. Thus your days and the days of your children will be multiplied on the land which the Lord promised to your ancestors for as long as the heavens remain over the earth. Page 58.
ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר בני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Turning to the middle of page 60.
ומלכותו בלצון קיבלו עליהם משה ובני ישראל לכאן ושירה ושמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך באלים אדוני מי כמוך נדל בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ובניך, וכהים לפני משה. זה ליאנו ואמרו, זה ליאנו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני גאל ישראל.
Tonight we are happy and honored to invite Dan and Cindy Newman back to their congregational home from Florida. Although it's a visit, we're going to take every second and cherish it. Tonight they'll lead us in our responsive reading on page 63.
Help us, O God, to lie down in peace, but teach us that peace means more than quiet.
Remind us that if we are to be at peace at night, we must take heed how we live by day.
Grant us the peace that comes from honest dealing, so that no fear of discovery will haunt our sleep.
Rid us of resentments and hatreds which rob us of the peace we crave.
Liberate us from enslaving habits which disturb us and give us no rest.
May we inflict no pain, bring no shame, and seek no profit from another's loss.
May we so live that we can face the world with serenity and with grace.
May we feel no remorse at night for what we have done during the day.
May we lie down in peace tonight and awaken tomorrow to a richer and fuller life. Amen.
ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם ופרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך ברוך אתה אדוני Shabbat Shalom עלינו ועל כל עמו ישראל ועל ירושלים.
Page 64.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש. יתגדל ויתקדש שם רבה, ועלמא דברה קדותי וימליך מלכותי, יקון וביום יקון, ובקייד כל בית ישראל, בגלה ובזמן קריב, ויאמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מברך, לעולם עולם מעלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתהלל ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דמירן בעלמא, ויאמרו amen.
We turn now to page 69 for our evening Amidah, which goes through page 76, pages 69 through 76 in quiet prayer.
שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך, תשים לעולם. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. כי אתה הוא מלך אדון לכל השלום. שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך ועל כל יושבי תבל. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
We're seated and we turn to page 80.
La 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 la. ויקולו השמיים והארץ וכותבה ויקל אלוהים ביום השביעי מלאכתו אשר עשה וישבות ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי ויקדש אותו יבוא שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות. לה 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 יבוא שבת מכל מלאכתו אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות.
Page 82.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו אלוהי אברהם אלוהי יצחק ואלוהי יעקב אלוהי שרה אלוהי רבקה אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה. האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל העליון קונה שמיים מגן אבות בדברו מקיים מתים במעמדו. האל הקדוש שאין כמוהו המניח לעמו ביום שבת קודשו טבעם רצה להניח להם טבעם רצה להניח להם לפניו לעבוד ביראה ופחד ונורא לשמו בכל יום תמיד בין הבקוש אל ההודעות אדון השלום מקדש השבת מברך שביעי ומניח בקדושה לעמד ושני עונג זכר למעשה בראשית. יתגדל ויתקדש שמן הבא. ינמדי ודקי רותי וימיק מלכותי בחיי כל נבימי כל נבחית כל בישראל, בגלה וזמן כדי וימרו, אמן. ישמר רבם מברך, לעולם עולם מעלמיה. יתברך וישתבח ויתהוא ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה שמי לקודשה ולכל אל אמין כל ברכתה ושירתה ושבחתה ונקמתה תאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו אמן. תתקבל צלותו לטובתו לכל ישראל כאדם ובהון בשמיים ויאמרו אמן. יש למעלה בה בשמיים וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ויאמרו amen.
We'd like to invite Todd Nesson to come forward and to lead us in Kiddush and to invite the community to rise, turning to page 90. For those with us that are live streaming, please grab something delicious to drink and join us.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher geshat mitzotav l'tivan l'chad nidar shel Shabbat, v'Shabbat kadsho b'hava u'ratzon kichlanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reshit kihuyon tehillah l'mikrei kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim.
Kivanu v'kata be'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'Shabbat kodshecha yahva u'vratzon kinchaltanu.
Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh haShabbat.
Amen.
Everyone may be seated. So the moment you've all been waiting for, or at least the moment we've been waiting for sure. Tonight I have the honor and the privilege on behalf of our clergy and our board and our search committee to introduce someone who we are incredibly excited to invite into our congregation and into our Bethel family as a rabbi. Rabbi Naomi Zaslow is here for her first Shabbat. Today is her first day of work at our congregation at Bethel, and we are so happy, Rabbi Zaslow, to have you join us. Rabbi Zaslow is here with her spouse, Matthew. Matthew, will you give a quick hands up to everyone? And they'll be around throughout Shabbat. Rabbi Zaslow is giving her first sermon tonight on the Bima. And I will just say that when we had the opportunity to meet and spend time with Rabbi Zaslow, we were incredibly taken by her expertise, by her experience, by her background, and even more so by her love for Judaism, for Torah, for the Jewish people and the congregants that she's interfaced with, interacted with, and had the opportunity to grow with over her years in rabbinical school. She's a master teacher. Tonight we're going to hear her preach, and what I'm sure you're going to find is what we found, which is that her ability to connect with people and her care to connect with people is something that we're really looking forward to and will enhance our community. So with no further ado, Rabbi Zaslow, please take over on the Bima.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Oh, once upon a time, there was a man who couldn't stop crying. He cried in bed, he cried in the fields, he cried during the day, and he cried during the night. Nothing that he could do could stop him from crying. Oh, he couldn't find a solution to his sadness. When he thought about his present, he felt anxious. And when he thought about his past and the past of our people, he felt scared. When he thought about his future and what it meant to be Jewish, he was terrified. And so all he could do was cry. Well, one day, God reaches down, if God could reach. God reaches down and scoops up this man and brings him to Gan Eden and says, okay, like now you don't have to keep on crying. But the man is still crying. And so God says, look up at the moon. And he looks up. There it is. It's very small in the sky. It's a new moon. It's right after Rosh Chodesh. He watches as the moon gets ever so much bigger. Just a little. Just a little. And its light is pouring down on his face. And his tears stop. He feels comforted. It's a little bit of an odd story. It's from the Zohar, and the Zohar is a little bit of an odd book. A little. And the Zohar teaches that because of this story, because of the moonlight hitting the man's face, washing away his tears, that's why we, as Jews, we go outside on the first Shabbat after Rosh Chodesh, of the first Shabbat of a new month, and we look up at the new moon, at this moon that has started almost invisible on Rosh Chodesh at the start of the month, but is now getting ever so much bigger. And we say a bunch of prayers about how important it is that we should look at the moon, and that the moon is this fantastic thing that shows that God has done all of this creation. But the Zohar uses the story to say that when we do this act, when we do Kiddush Levana, the sanctification of the new moon, that it will remove our emotional sorrows and our spiritual sorrows too. Just like that guy, that our tears, not the tears from like physical pain, but our tears about the ways that we are anxious about our present, our past, and our future will be scooped away from us. Kiddush Levana is tomorrow night, and so I do want to invite everybody to like go outside and take a look at the moon and see how you feel. But still, it's not so easy to understand. Like really looking at the moonlight, letting the moonlight touch my face, is that really going to affect me spiritually and emotionally? Is that really going to make me feel better? I want to suggest 3 possible reasons for why the Zohar might give us this understanding. Who am I to understand the Zohar? One possibility is that when we look up at the moon, and we remember that we're not in control, God is in control, that these, the luminaries within the sky, the sun, the moon, the stars, we can't do anything about them. We can like do a lot of stuff within our earth, but like these things are completely out of our hands, and that kind of humility helps us feel comforted. Maybe. A second possibility from this story within the Zohar is that when we look at the new moon and its growing light, we're noticing something that we haven't been noticing. We're noticing something that was actually invisible. From the middle of the month onward, then the moon gets smaller and shrinks until we can't like see it at all. Perhaps it's that looking up at the moon and letting the moonlight hit us awakens within us an eye for that which we don't understand, an eye for things which are cyclical, an eye for things which go from sadness to joy, from withering to growth. And we too realize, okay, I'm part of this, that right now I feel anxious and scared, but tomorrow joy will come, as it says in the Psalms, perhaps. The third possibility, which is my favorite, so I've saved it for last, comes from the ceremony of Kiddush Lavana itself, the ceremony that we do when we go outside we're supposed to go outside after Shabbat with a group of at least 10 adults, and we're supposed to say a bunch of psalms, a bunch of specific texts, while again, looking at the moon. Oh, the weird part about the ceremony itself is that right in the middle of it, we tear our eyes away from the moon and we look at each other. We look at the other people that we are gathered with. We look at the other people that have come to experience this new bright moonlight with us. We look them in the eye and we say, Shalom Aleichem, peace unto you. And they respond to us, Aleichem Shalom, upon you also peace. And if you open up a Siddur, if you open up a prayer book, there are all of these passages about the moon and God's creation, and then there's this pause and it says, and now turn to 3 people and wish them peace. And they need to wish peace upon you. And then it continues like with more passages, with more liturgy about the moon and God's role in creation. Maybe the comfort that we feel, maybe the removal of our anxiety, the removal of our stress, our worries, is about our ability to connect with other people. Our ability to turn to others and to offer them peace, to offer them love, to offer them our own light that we're going to shine onto them just like the moon. And then also for us to receive it, to say that those people that were gathered around, that they too have a light, that they too have something that they can shine onto me. They too have peace that they can give to me. The story in the Zohar of the man crying, perhaps it's that when he looks up at the moon, and he remembers that there are all of those people in his life that he's connected to that are shining their light onto him, and that he too has light to give out within this world. Oh, within all of us, there are things that are hidden, and there are things that we are glowing and so excited to share with others. I want to invite us to recognize that every one of us, every single person, has that glow, has something to give. All the more so ourselves, that we should realize that we have that glow within us to shine onto others. And tomorrow night, when Shabbat ends, turn to your window or go outside with some people in your life. Look up at the moon and let its light come down on you and wish each other peace. Because that's definitely what we need within this world, to be there for each other. I'm so excited and proud and delighted to be here with all of you. Shabbat Shalom.
So we might be a little bit early, and as Rabbi Zaslow was speaking, I was thinking, I can't remember the first time I spoke on this bima, but I'm sure that it was not as magnificent as that was. So we're going to be a day early, but I would love to just invite us to bless each other with that offering of peace So if you would be so generous as to bestow that blessing to the community, and then also to receive that blessing from us.
Shalom Aleichem.
Lechem Shalom.
Amen. May it be a peaceful and a beautiful stretch together. We turn now back in prayer to page 118, and we rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצא בראשית, שלא עשנו כראי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות אדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגול עלינו ככל המונה. עונות השמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרוב השמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו, וגבהם אלוהים, הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס עולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו
We pause at this time in our service to remember with reverence the yard sites of our loved ones that are observed from sundown tonight to sundown tomorrow night, the third day of Tammuz. Rose Ambach, William Wagner Binzen, Rachel Lena Borenstein, Beverly Exler, Leonore Kohlenstein Gorman, Anna Kelman, Bernice Bunny Miller, Betty Paramel, Mildred Portnoy, Mayor Schumann, Mrs. Harriet Shavitz, Marcy Steinberg, Rabbi Mark H. Tannenbaum, and Jacob Wagman. Zecher Tzadik Livracha, may their memories always be a blessing. And will all of those people who are in a period of mourning or observing a yard site please rise and join me in reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, found on page 124. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah. Bialma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala ubizman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach leolam olmeol maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemeda kudesha brechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechamata. Da'amiran v'yalma v'yimeru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimaru. Amen. May your loved ones' memories be a blessing always. A few announcements. First, morning services tomorrow will be at 10 a.m. in the Gorn Chapel. And for those who want to come study Torah, that will be at 9 a.m. on Zoom. Tomorrow evening services will be at 8:45. And then Sunday and Monday, because of the 4th of July, 9:15 in the morning and 5:30 in the evening. Just a reminder that tomorrow is our annual Seersucker Shabbat. If you have a seersucker suit, put it on and come join us. That's going to be tomorrow in the Gorn. And just want to, again, extend a big welcome to Rabbi Zaslow and to Matthew, and to just make sure we all can take advantage of the opportunity to get to say hello and introduce ourselves during Kiddush tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow is our first Kiddush back in the building in
35 years.
2.5 years. 2.5 years. So we're going to enjoy being together again. I want to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom and a happy 4th of July weekend. And we will conclude with Shalom Aleichem on page 16.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Barakuni leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tetchem leshalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei, Malachei Elyon. Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat
Shabbat Shalom.